My husband wants a divorce because I'm more social than him, but I told him I won't accept a divorce for 4 years so I can get back on my feet. I, 30F, have been married to my husband, 35M, for almost 7 years now. We started dating when I was 20 years old, and he was 24. He came into the relationship with a 3-year-old daughter and a successful but relatively small business, and since then, we've added 2 more children, and his business has grown tremendously. I helped him get full custody of his daughter by handling all of the paperwork/lawyer requirements. The lawyer's team barely spoke to him. I was the first point of contact, and I also run the operations for the business. Don't get me wrong, he is a tremendously hard worker and a wonderful dad to our kids. He will always provide for them, no doubt, and be there for them. I'm just saying that I have done my fair share of work in this relationship throughout the years. Our oldest is 13, and I am her mom. She barely has a relationship with her biological mother, and my kids are with me all day long, with our eldest being homeschooled. We recently went on a vacation with another family, and the trip quickly turned sour when I told my husband that the other couple said they wanted to do something different than what he had planned at the last minute for both parties. When we returned to our room, he called me a weirdo for ambushing his plans. When I told him, I just think they didn't want to burst your bubble, or something like that, he quickly became angry and said I was trying to control the trip. The couple said to me that they hadn't planned on leaving the resort and were glad I didn't want to go either. When we returned home, my husband said he wanted a divorce. I cried about it a lot, but all in all, I was understanding. He pointed out a lot of things, like my desire to be around people and his desire to be alone, as one of the many reasons for the divorce. I have not technically worked in many years and have been the primary caregiver for all of our children in the meantime. I've told him I don't want a divorce for the next 4 years until our baby is in kindergarten so I can support myself and my kids on my own. I agreed I would do 50-50 custody per his request so he doesn't feel like I have the upper hand with our kids, but we both know an 80-20 custody arrangement is what we're going to be doing because of the nature of his work. I don't want alimony or child support. If he wins, my kids win, and we have to know each other for the rest of our lives. I'd rather leave amicably and let our kids have both parents at their birthday parties without tension. The houses we own are in my name, same as his. He has offered a portion of his business in the divorce to help me feel secure in the decision to divorce, and I refused. He asked if I could continue to help with the business until he gets the hang of things. I told him, of course, but I've told him I don't want to divorce or be legally separated until I can be on my feet on my own. Since then, he seems more miserable than before. I respect and love him deeply, and I've told him to go find himself and stay out if he wants to. During that time, we'll be living as roommates and co-parents, but I don't want to lose my health insurance and have to worry about working while returning to school. He's agreed to what I've suggested, but I can't help but feel like he's become more resentful and snippy. Since then, he's spent less time with me and the kids and hasn't been up for family activities. I don't know if I'm the jerk for trying to put my needs first. Update 1. So, I came on here a while back to seek advice, and the consensus was that I was the jerk. Since then, I have worked on myself and decided to ask for the alimony/child support I deserve. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 10 years and helped build his small business along the way. Originally, my husband was miserable to be around and wasn't himself when I told him I needed some time before the divorce to be on my feet. I came on here, and everyone told me the poor guy felt trapped because of my request, so I let that go and said we'll get the full divorce, a 4-month process in our state, and move on with our lives. I have the paperwork ready, and I told him to find a lawyer, and he found one that wasn't licensed. Through simple channels, I was able to find out that the person claiming to be a lawyer online was not licensed by the state. I run the operations for his small business, so I'm savvy in these things. My husband is incredible in his field, not exaggerating, he's one of the best, if not the best, in his profession where we live, but the business side of things has been all me since we met. Since I helped him dodge that fraud, he hasn't put much effort into the divorce process. Here's the kicker, I agreed to pretty much everything he recommended we do. Stay living together as long as possible. He takes the guest room while I stay in the primary bedroom. When he decides to start dating, he moves out, and we try our hand at bird nesting with the kids. Continue to help operate the business without being put on payroll. I was never on payroll to save on taxes. If things get contentious, which I doubt they will on my end, then I will find a manager for the business to fill my position. Agree to 50-50 custody and joint decision-making so that he doesn't feel like I have the upper hand with the courts. This, even though we will be doing an 80-20 split in reality, and I am the primary decision-maker. The problem is this, he hasn't moved his feet to get this process going on his end. He's been acting like things are good between us, asking for hugs and being more supportive than he was during our marriage. We still smash, but I don't snuggle with him afterward, shut down pillow talk, and keep things professional otherwise. I'm not dumb, but a woman has needs. I set up a therapy session for our 13-year-old at the end of the week. She's biologically his, but I've been her mama and the closest parent to her since we met when she was 3. I don't want her feeling abandoned. The only thing we don't agree on, actually, is her living with me when he's ready to move out. I know she would want to. He knows the same but hates the idea of her not going to his apartment with him. For the therapist's recommendation, I told him we needed to schedule a sit-down to talk with our daughter about the divorce before our therapy session. He was quiet and said, "I'll see," and left it at that. I asked again last night while our teen was at soccer practice, and the two little ones were asleep in the car after a family day out. A perfect time to talk, right? Apparently, I was wrong, and he said he decided that we're going to hold off on talking to her about it. I told him I don't agree, and then he said his decision was final, and that we would go to therapy with her to work on our communication as a family, not to discuss the divorce as planned. I'm pissed because I have had to prepare so much for this transition, and now, he's dragging his feet. I want him in the guest room already so he can stop trying to touch my feet in bed with his, and we can both move on with our lives. We can't do that until we tell our daughter, and I don't want her to be blindsided in all of this. The therapist told us both that the more we can keep our teen in the loop with the process, the better. He wanted this, so he needs to man up and face the music. Am I being insensitive? Update 2. Thank you to everyone who told me what I needed to hear. I clearly needed a reality check. I was being a wife without the support of a husband. I guess I've been so used to being treated poorly, it never occurred to me that I actually have any power in this situation. For everyone wondering, assets are in my name as well as his. I'm not completely stupid. The business is in his name because he started it before we met. It was small when we met, and I've helped expand it extensively throughout the years. No payroll was a joint decision because we filed jointly and wanted to save on taxes to put money back into the business. It was a smart choice because his income has ballooned and we've been able to live comfortably throughout the years. I get the Social Security benefit conversation, I just didn't think I was going to ever get divorced. I have spoken to my husband, and he is set on divorcing. I have a therapy session for myself scheduled this week and a follow-up interview for a job that would allow me to bring my children along with me every day. I am enrolled in school and I'm going to finish out my degree while working full-time. I have a lot to think about regarding what to ask for child support-wise and how to structure the parenting plan. My biggest fear for leaving all these years has been losing my daughter in the process. She is 13 now, with a cell phone, so I can communicate every day, which helps. But sadly, even if I get to keep our main house or get my fair share of money, if my ex wants to keep our teen daughter away and change her number, he has every right to do so legally. I have no rights over my stepdaughter in my state unless my husband and his ex give up their rights or she elects for emancipation, neither of which will ever happen. My kids are my everything. She is my first child in my eyes, and I treat her no differently than I do the ones that came from my body. With that said, you can all say I'm dumb for 50-50, but I am looking to keep the peace. Money isn't everything. The alimony/child support and a new job will be more than enough to sustain my kids and myself until I finish my degree. I can't afford to miss out on these years with my teen daughter if he's bitter. Thank you everyone, even the pricks on here, for telling me what I needed to hear. I know y'all are wondering, I told him no more smashing as he tried again last night. It is completely off the table. I was stupid to think I was helping myself out with that one. You all let me know that. I set a date for our daughter to be told before our family therapy session. If not, I will talk to her without him. I'll update when life gets better, as I'm sure it will.